Good afternoon. This is Keith Shindler coming to you for another edition of Personal Injury and Facebook Live. I do these sessions to try and bring to the community information about how you can help yourself recover damages and perfect your case when you're involved in a personal injury case. We welcome positive comments and questions. You can always call us at Claim Your Justice at 1-888-88-KEITH, which is 888-885-3484. Just to give you some quick background, in our first episode we discussed who pays for costs when a client is pursuing a personal injury case. In the second episode we discussed what to do in the event of a car accident. In the third episode we discussed chain reaction type of accidents. And today I want to discuss with you slip and fall and trip and fall cases. Very basic, right? Someone is walking, they slip, they fall, and they injure themselves. Or someone is walking and they trip and they fall and injure ourselves. With the winter here, hopefully we're getting out of the winter pretty soon, but with the winter, slip and falls are very common. Even without the weather conditions, it could happen in a store, it could happen in a parking lot, it could happen when walking from a parking lot into a store, and also the vice versa facts, walking out of a store into a parking lot. This past week alone, I received 3 calls regarding these type of accidents. The first call was a woman who fell at the Greyhound Station in downtown Chicago. The serious injury was she broke her foot and it required surgery. Another person called, they tripped outside a hospital, they fractured their hip and required surgery. And another prospective client called that they slipped on ice coming out of an apartment building and they fractured their leg. As you can see, these types of accidents frequently lead to very serious injuries. Regularly, if the case is properly documented and constructed, these cases can be successful. However, and sadly, the common element of the 3 calls that I just mentioned above, the three cases that called had a common element, which is a bad element. They had no pictures. Why do we need pictures? I'll get to that in a second. But the interesting thing that I find is that when I ask a person if they had pictures of an incident where they tripped and fell or slipped and fell and they say no, I find it a little bit unusual because in our everyday lives, if someone sees a fight, what's the first thing they do? They whip out their phone. If someone sees a car accident, what's the first thing they do? They whip out their phone. If someone sees anything that may be newsworthy or interesting to them from a social media perspective, they're all over their phones. I don't know why, but when something happens personal, they don't even think of it. Each of these 3 callers said, I didn't think to take a picture. I get it. I understand. They were injured. They were in pain. They needed help. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't get a picture of the area where you fell at the time of the fall, send a family member back. Ask someone at the hospital. Ask the emergency room. Sorry about that. Ask the ambulance driver who comes. Hey, please, can you take a picture of this area? It's critically important to perfecting the case. Why is it critically important? Because I, as your attorney, need to establish that there was some defective condition that the property owner or the company that takes care of the maintenance of the building did not do properly, and therefore it caused you to fall. It's extremely difficult and sometimes virtually impossible for me to file a lawsuit. Let's look at the Greyhound Station case. I go after the Greyhound Station. I said my client fell in your facility. First question is, where did they fall? Well, my client doesn't have an exact location. She said, it's on my way to the bathroom. Look at the other case. Person trips coming out of a hospital. Listen, there could be sidewalks that aren't properly maintained. There could be sidewalks that are under construction and there's not proper signage or cordoning off the construction site. Those are all very helpful things that could help support a case, but without a picture, I'm dead in the water trying to help my client recover money. The slip and falls coming out of a hotel or an apartment building or a store. If it's ice, those are difficult cases. But if there was an unnatural, what's called in the law, an unnatural accumulation of ice, it helps me. I could help you. We can recover substantial money with the right facts. What do we need here? In any personal injury case, you need a duty. You need a breach of the duty. You need proximate cause. You need damages. Duty and breach of duty we'll discuss in a later session. Damages are easy to understand. Someone's injured. They fracture a bone. They have surgery. They break open their head. That requires staples in their head. Those are damages. Those are easy to understand. Proximate cause. In law school, they taught us it's called the quotations, but for. But for the property owner not properly maintaining their property, this person would not have been injured. But for the company that's in charge of maintenance, the person wouldn't have been injured. But for the negligence of the construction company taking care of a repair job on a particular site, the person wouldn't have been injured. It's called proximate cause. It's an element, a substantial element, a necessary element of a personal injury case. How do we prove but for? Pictures, pictures, pictures. I had a recent case. We discussed it with you at the end of January, and I'll touch on it again today. Our client was walking on a city street, on a sidewalk that had something that's called an uneven slabbing. So you have one slab this high, another slab this high. If they're very close, it's difficult to maintain a case. This was not very close. The client fell. She fractured her wrist. She has surgery. What did she do? They called us right away. First perfect thing they did to help us represent them properly in the case. They talked to me. I said, please get someone out there to take pictures. They sent a relative out, took pictures. We were able to establish the depth of difference, which was approximately 3.5 inches or so. It helps me establish that but for the negligence in maintaining that particular sidewalk, the person would not have fell. It's established by pictures, and I don't mean to be redundant, and I apologize if you think you've heard this 5 times already in the 8 minutes that we've been talking. It's necessary. Once you get pictures, then I can use those pictures in establishing where the accident happened, how the accident happened, see if anyone else fell in that area. Sometimes if a facility or an area or a store has security cameras, the video from those security cameras could possibly have captured the actual area and the specific time and the specific incidents where the trip and fall or slip and fall happened. It's hard to get video. If it's a neighbor's video from like a Ring doorbell, maybe. If it's a video from the person who's maintaining the store or the house or the other type of structure, they're never going to voluntarily turn it over. I could get it through litigation, the discovery, but it's difficult to put together a case that way. On the issue of a Ring doorbell, if you see someone, if you come to the aid of a friend, family member, or if it's yourself that trips and falls or slips and falls, document exactly where the accident happened, and then we can go around to the houses that may be around there. Everyone seems to have a Ring doorbell or other type of doorbell that records these things, and we'd take the time, our investigators or our firm would take the time to knock on the door of those houses or other businesses and say, hey, can we get a copy of the video? If I get the video, I can help you. So let's sum it up. I know you're injured. I know people are very seriously injured in these type of trip and falls. My sister-in-law was very seriously injured, and it's important. Please take the pictures. Remember, if you're injured in any type of accident, car accident, trip and fall, medical malpractice, wrongful death, let us help you claim your justice. Call 888-88-KEITH. We're here to help you. Thank you. This has been Keith Shindler. Have a successful rest of your week. Thank you.